Good morning, friends. It is 91 a.m., and I am quite tired already. I spent the morning cleaning the deck from outside my cottage, listening to the gentle stream of the water as I scrubbed moss growing from the sides of the deck. I tried to do it comfortably. However, after a while, I felt like I could feel the dents beginning to form in my bare knees as I scrubbed, the wood digging into my flesh. I put shorts on to avoid ruining any of my skirts, but it appears I've ruined my knees instead. What would have been easier past carry-on, putting a muddy skirt in the wash, or endlessly cleaning blood and wounds? Well, I can tell you with confidence, the former would have been far easier. You're not one for foresight now, are you? What kind of loneliness do you have to reach to be speaking not only to yourself, but your past self? I'm sure I could strike a long conversation with myself from when I was in high school. But I'm sure he'd have a bone to pick with me. I think he'd make fun of me. I suppose that is growth. I'm not proud of who I was, I can say that with confidence, but... Anyway, the deck is nice and clean. I can't see my reflection in it, but it's clean nonetheless. As I sat on the deck's bench and wiped my bloody knees, I saw an otter gently float up to my right. Her fur was slicked back from the water. An otter pup laid in her embrace as she floated along the cold morning lake. Well, I was delighted to see life, so I smiled and waved back. Well, she didn't wave to begin with, but she also didn't frantically swim away, so I figured she was saying hello in her own way. I guess I figured her getting close to me at all was almost like a greeting. Anyway, I sat on the edge of the deck. My feet dangled from the edge as I stared down at the kind mother. She floated in circles in the water as she stared back up at me. I saw how her pup squirmed and squeaked in her arms, lovingly cuddling up to her as she floated. She was a safety raft and a warm embrace for her pup. Made me tear up a little. Each mother is a mother of nature, but not every person who gives birth is a mother. It is those who hold their babies close, with a firm, secure, and loving grasp, not allowing them to slip away and fall into the dark depths of the water, holding them tight even if their own heads dip back and under in the process. The salt of the water may burn their nose, but if their baby is safe, that discomfort will wilt away, be replaced with relief. A mother is just someone who's loving. I wish I could have continued to be that for someone. How I miss my younger brother. I hope he's well. But that's not the point. I enjoyed that encounter with the otter this morning. For a wild animal, she seemed awfully trusting. It has been a good morning. I'm going to rest a little, allow my limbs to rejuvenate, and for the dark magic to begin healing my wounds. My dead cells won't do it on their own. Well, if not for this dark magic, why, my flesh would tear from my bones like a loaf of brioche fresh out the oven. Although a gory image, it is thankfully just hypothetical. Anyway, I will rest now. Well, I'll speak to you all by afternoon. Bye-bye. My mother loved me. Loved me, she did. She loved me like a dog loves a stuffed animal. She loved me like she loves Bloody Marys. She loved me like a favorite dress. She loved me. Good morning, or afternoon, yearlings. It's 24 p.m. I had fallen asleep after last recording and woke up at 123 p.m., cold and empty. I laid still for a moment. I felt the cold of the air stroke my spine, so gently. I looked up from where I laid, and I saw a ghost peering down at me. They were smaller than any other ghost I'd ever seen. I smiled up at them. The misty figure descended closer to the molded wooden floors and leaned next to me, their rounder face squishing into the cushions. A small chuckle escaped my lips as I gently caressed their face. They just stared at me, and they asked if I was okay. Their voice was quite squeaky in pitch. They were definitely a child. It saddened me. I said, "I'm plenty okay, my love. And what concerns you?" The child just stared at me as I felt the cold mist beneath my fingertips. They sighed gently and rested in my palm. It's saddening to see. I wanted to ask this child where their mother was, but I figured the mother was likely still alive. I didn't wish to open such fresh wounds for such a young child. I just wanted to hold them close. I wished I could have held them closely like I used to hold my younger brother. Husband, my sweet boy. I wish I could have seen you grow. I know Mom hopes you forgot about me for your own good, but also for hers. For a moment, I pretended this sweet ghost child was Aspen. I pretended this was the sweet, curly-haired boy I picked up from school and held close to my chest, who I read bedtime stories to and kissed on the forehead every night before bed. I felt my face sharply ache, as I couldn't seem to convince myself that it was him. It didn't feel like him. I couldn't possibly pretend it was. The ghost child asked if I was okay as my eyebrows furrowed and my nose scrunched, and all I could muster was a nod. The poor thing. They eventually lifted their head and disappeared into the empty corner of the living room, and I just waited for the aching in my face to stop. And it had finally stopped until I began speaking again. And now it returns. Oh, I'm so close, yet so far. Here, let me calm down again, and then I'll carry on as normal. Good afternoon, yearlings. It is 39 p.m., and I'm back from wandering the woods. After the last recording, I decided to wander to take my mind off of all that was going through my head, and it seemed to work. I mean, I didn't find anything too interesting in the woods, but I guess I could show off what I did find, though you all probably wouldn't find it that interesting. The first thing is some moss. Aspen used to make me little collages from moss and rocks, so I figured I would take it home, bask in that nostalgia for a moment. It's quite soft and soothing to touch. I love the fuzzy feeling beneath my fingertips and how it reminds me of being young. Feeling along the trees, taking in every sense I possibly could. I miss it. Well, the second item is shiny stone I found by the pond. I just really like the texture, to be honest. How cold it felt as I picked it up. The water was fresh and sparkled like a crystal being perfectly kissed by the sun. It was cold, but quite clear. I almost felt confident I could drink it. However, not all dirt and bacteria is visible, so I will not take that risk. That reminds me. There was a time in which people believed invisible bacteria could not be real, because obviously we couldn't see it. If we couldn't see it, it didn't exist. which also resulted in countless deaths as a result from drinking unpasteurized milk. Quite a fan of milk. The best milk I ever had was milk from a deer. I remember the taste on my tongue so clearly. It was creamy and rich. I wouldn't even say beyond delicious. It was even a bit sweet in aftertaste. Why, I should gather it again sometime. But do remember to pasteurize your milk, or you will very likely die a painful death. And you wouldn't wish that kind of gastrointestinal pain on your worst enemy. Trust me, I'd know. Anyway, the third thing is incredibly personal to me, and perhaps I won't share it. But it's really important to me, and I want people to know, so, whatever. The third item is just a stick. I know, it sounds silly, but it's shaped in the exact way my dog's old stick was shaped. It's quite thick. It branches out and stands high in the sky. It's beautiful. Reminds me of home. Well, that's all I have to show. I'm quite happy with what I found, and I feel at peace. I think I will end it there. Well, I will see you all in the evening. Good evening. I had a strange dream. Would you all like to hear it? You don't have a choice, for I will tell you anyhow. And to be forced to sit through my awful stories could never compare what I'm forced to do each and every day of my life. My jealousy of the living really makes me hate you all. Anyways, my dream. I was out in the forest. It was a murky night. I couldn't see through the thick smog. The moonlight shone down on me. I collected flowers that sprouted from the ground, dragging my feet as I searched. For what I searched, I don't know. As I walked, I could hear grumbling beneath the earth I walked upon. Vines began to sprout and twist and turn around my legs. I didn't move. I felt no urge to. I simply allowed myself to be brought backwards. The vines descended back into the soil as I stood before a wooden shed, desolate and coated with moss. Coincidentally, there was a plate and candle by a wooden table, waiting to be lit to further explore the shed consumed by Mother Nature's mossy kisses. So, I took the candle in my shaky hands, lighting it and letting the warmth of the flame caress my face before I stepped inside. The floorboards creaked as I went inside. The flame slowly dragged in an unnatural way as I gently moved it around, trying to see further into the shed. There were tools, as expected. There was also a wooden table with fresh food on it. I stared at it for a while. I felt confused. Is that food safe to eat? I couldn't possibly be stupid enough to eat food simply sitting out. Otherwise, I would have died for nothing. So, I left it be. Somehow, a doe fit within the corner of the shed, staring at me with gentle eyes as if she was offering the food to me. I softly declined, and as I did, she began to ravenously eat the food upon the table. I felt as if I blinked and it was gone. She kept eye contact with me. She chewed the food with such a passion, it was almost as if she was doing it for some kind of sport. Her glaring became cold, sharp, piercing. Her legs shook as she continued to chew, so vigorously. Chewed up food dripping from her mouth. Ugh. It frightened me, so I hurried back out and felt the harsh hiss of the wind. My nightgown and wool overcoat blew in the wind. The fire fizzled out, and I was merely guided by the moonlight. And from there, I can't remember anything. It is nothing meaningful or even interesting, but notable enough that it's something to talk about. I Admittedly, I am quite sour today. I'm not having the best day, and I'm upset. But I doubt any of you would give a shit about that. Hell, I doubt any of you care. You all likely just enjoy my nonsense to listen to with your morning tea. I am no person to you. All I am is a character, right? Right? That's all I am. Maybe I best log off. Clearly I don't feel well. I'm sorry, yearlings. I don't mean to be angry with you. It is not about you. I may make dinner, or perhaps I will succumb to my exhaustion and continue to sleep. We shall see. Good night, yearlings, and I'm sorry again. Hello. It is 4:43 a.m., I think. I can't be sure, but it's late. I received a letter. I know. Someone sent me a letter. Likely illegally, but nonetheless. I was laying in my bed sulking about the misery of my undead life, and right when I heard a knock at my door, my heart began to race. Artificially, but it was racing, as I hadn't heard that sound in forever. I froze, however. Was I just meant to answer it? Should I rehearse? I haven't answered for anyone in so long. I likely didn't look very good in my nightgown and hair-covered coat. My hair wasn't even done. As a result, I didn't answer the door until I could hear footsteps retreating back into the forest from my room. Then I answered the door. And there it was. A letter, just for me. And the contents are exciting. I've been invited to a tea party. Here, let me read it. Dear Carry On. Wait, that isn't. Oh, okay, it's not important. Dear Carry On behalf of Marshall and Amy Bancroft, you have been invited to their annual summer tea party. Starting at 9 a.m., we will eat a hearty breakfast and discuss the latest events. Then we shall dance until lunch, and then all of you will be excused for supper. Supper? Oh, sorry, supper. Freudian slip. It is an organized special occasion, and we are happy to be inviting you for the first time. We heard of you from a dear friend of ours, and although he cannot make it this year, he hopes to share the joy of this special occasion with you, as he phrased it. We look forward to seeing you. Sincerely, Beverly Bancroft. How wonderful is that? I'm so excited. I don't know how I'm going to manage to sleep. I must find my finest gown, my prettiest of haircuts, my nicest of jewelry. I must be presentable. I'm so excited. I will tell you all about it tomorrow with each excruciating detail. Good night, starlings, until we meet again. I'm so excited.